Hey, drop the taser. Drop the taser. Or drop it. Drop it. Drop it. On the ground. Get back. Hey, drop. Hey. Hey. Step it up. Hey, drop the chainsaw. One at taser point.
Oh my God.
Hey, drop it. I got one at taser point. Step it up. We'll be in the front lobby. Drop it.
Subject in the front lobby.
You want me to leave? Yes.
Step it up.
I'm not leaving here without my lady. Where is she?
Step it up.
Where's my...
Drop it.
I just want my wife, man. I just want...
Listen, man.
I don't want to...
Taser deployed. Taser. Hey. Hey, right here. He's right here.
Come on. Get him out. Come here. He's trying to get this guy. Oh, shit.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm a law enforcement trainer instructor. I train and instruct military and law enforcement all over the country on various law enforcement disciplines to include constitutional law, case law, patrol tactics, use of force, firearms, CEWs, etc. And so today we have a new CEW video that I want to kind of break down a little bit. I want to break down the case law specifically because unfortunately, I think the biggest problem with tasers and taser use is I think they're a great force multiplier. The stats on tasers, above and beyond prove its merit. Okay. Now, there's a lot of people that don't like tasers, and that's fine. And I'm not here to change your mind. Again, I'm a fact-driven, science-based person. So the facts and science on tasers are sound. But the biggest issues, again, that we run into with tasers are when officers don't use them in the appropriate manner that I believe they should, and in the appropriate manner that case law has set them out for. And so we're going to kind of talk about that nuance. We're going to kind of talk about that. So the first thing that we have to do when we're talking about this is talk about what is a taser, right? So as you can see on your screen, a taser is a conducted energy weapon, a CEW, and it's designed as a least lethal energy weapon whose purpose is to attain what's called NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. That is the purpose of the taser. That is what a taser should be used for, to, again, attain neuromuscular incapacitation. So the next thing we need to talk about, and I think it's important to talk about, is what level of force is a taser? Again, as you can see on your screen here, the Ninth Circuit has affirmed that a taser is considered to be an intermediate use of force that's pursuant to in accordance with Brian v. McPherson, 2010. Brian v. McPherson, 2010. Again, an intermediate force weapon. The next thing we have to consider is what is a seizure, right? The Supreme Court holds and affirms that the application of physical force to the body of a person with the intent to restrain is a seizure, even if that person does not submit and is not subdued. Again, you've heard me say this case law. We talk about this case law a lot. Torres v. Madrid, 2021. So in this case, even if you have a failed taser deployment, I think, and here's the thing, a lot of defense attorneys, if they know the case law themselves, they're going to then say, officer, you had every intent to use physical force. You shot my client with a taser. Therefore, this was a quasi or complete seizure. This was a seizure. You are attempting to seize my client. Even if you weren't successful, the Supreme Court does not care, officer. You were attempting to seize my client. And so that's going to be a big consideration when we're talking about not just our Graham factors, right? Connor v. Graham, our Graham factors, our three-pronged test. But also it's going to matter in the respects of why are we there, right? And as law enforcement, especially those that are in supervisory roles, those are FTO roles, those that are in coaching roles, it's really incumbent and it's really important that we really stress to your officers, why are we here? What is our legal purpose? What is our legal authority? And again, I don't know too much all the details of the background of this video, but it seems reasonable to believe that anybody that looking at this from the perspective they should, RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion, pursuant to in accordance with Texas v. Brown, 1979, Yeah, a guy that has a chainsaw, starting a chainsaw and is waving it around and threatening people. Yeah, I could see why law enforcement would have a lawful reason to be there and have a lawful reason to seize and have a lawful reason to use force against such subject. Okay. The next thing we have to talk about, right, is why deploy? Why deploy a taser? Is it supported by the case law, right? So CEW, taser deployment against active resistance, right? Numerous courts have upheld that the use of a taser or other similar force, intermediate force, is a reasonable level of force when a suspect is resisting arrest and refusing to obey lawful orders of law enforcement. As you can see there, this is well versed in the case law. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 7 case laws there affirming that you can absolutely use a reasonable level of force or similar force to a taser, which is intermediate use of force against a suspect who, again, is resisting arrest and refusing to obey lawful orders of a law enforcement officer. I believe this officer telling the person to put this subject to put the chainsaw down, I would argue, as a taser instructor, I would argue as a subject matter expert on this, that was 100% reasonable. That was a reasonable use of lawful authority. Reasonable use. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. So the real question is here, why are we using it, right? So we know that we can, right? We've established that we're lawfully justified in using the taser. We've justified the use of seizing this person, right? So we have been able to flush out all the prerequisites for why the officer is there, his ability to seize, his lawful authority to compel identification, a detainment, the ability to use a taser lawfully. So the question now becomes, is the taser the right use of force in this scenario? I would argue it's not one that I would use. Okay. Now, with that being said, there's 2 lines of thought here, right? The first line of thought is, well, there's nothing that says that you can't display it, right? So let's talk about that. The science of de-escalation, right? CEWs have a long proven track record. Taser CEWs have had over 4 million field uses and are the most studied intermediate use of force option in existence, with over 8,000 studies affirming the safety and efficacy of the weapon. Studies showed that the use of a taser, CEW, resulted in 70% reduction of guard injuries, 40% reduction of assailant injuries, and the display of a taser or CEW device de-escalated 80% of situations without the need for further use of force. Now, with that being said, let's just talk about what the options here are. So a couple options here. Well, I'm there. Let me take my taser out and let's see if this person will fall in line with the 80% of being able to de-escalate. Because sometimes you will take the taser out, you will display the taser, and that person, 80% of the time, okay, bro, I get it. No, you got that thing out. I know what that thing does. I'm going to cooperate. In that case, yeah, that's excellent. That works. Now, in this case, we can see the OODA loop was off. We can see the closed loop communication was not happening. Now you have a person pointing a taser at somebody, and somebody is now trying to get that chainsaw turned on. So, do I think that it was completely reasonable if somebody knows the facts? Yeah, take it out, see if it de-escalates. If it does, great. We can affect that arrest. We can affect that detainment. But what if it doesn't? Well, then here's the next thing we have to consider. When is a taser deadly force, right? We've heard me break this down. This is 11th Circuit case. Long story of it short, police officer conducts a traffic stop. A passenger jumps out of the vehicle, runs away as the police officer's making foot chase, doing a foot chase on him. He starts to climb a wall, 8-foot wall. Taser's deployed on that subject. That subject falls, breaks his head, and dies, right? The 11th Circuit concluded that the officer cannot be held liable for conducting the initial stop or pursuing Robinson when he fled on foot. That was 100% reasonable. However, the court reversed the district's judgment as to 2 issues. However, the court held the officer's decision to tase at an elevated height did violate Robinson's clearly established right to be free from excessive use of force. Because the purpose, think about it, the purpose of the taser is to get neuromuscular incapacitation. Any reasonable person should believe that if you cause somebody neuromuscular incapacitation while they're at elevation, that can lead to deadly force. deadly force was not authorized. The use of deadly force was not authorized. And so it's reason to believe that if you are tasing somebody next to an ocean or to a pool or at height, that can cause reasonable person would believe falling into a pool while having no ability to swim, no ability to control your neuromuscular features can lead to drowning. Or the fact that if you cannot control your neuromuscular features at height, you will fall and cause serious bodily harm. So I would argue, right, if you have a guy with a chainsaw and it's on and he's getting ready to go to town, by causing neuromuscular capacitation, you can cause serious bodily harm. So why are we going to use the taser why are we using an intermediate weapon when I would argue this gentleman's already in the deadly use of force stage, right? So if he's already turned that thing on and he's threatening people, I don't want a taser. Plus, my taser's connected with probes. The viability of that option, especially when a chainsaw is meant to cut and I'm going to be deploying probes that are connected to tiny copper wires. Again, this is it's a lose-lose. It doesn't make, in my mind, it doesn't make rational sense. So again, these are just all things that I'm thinking about as a use of force instructor, as a constitutional law instructor, as somebody that teaches the stuff from the academic prowess, the hands-on competency skills, and then looking at this from, let's be honest, the journey here is not over once this arrest is made. There's going to be an adjudication process. There's going to be people with doctorate degrees that are looking to tear every decision that you make as an officer apart. So why put yourself in a losing situation and put yourself in a situation of high mitigation, high risk mitigation, low reward, right? So these are all things. And again, I'm not here to tell an officer what to do, but a lot of times with these taser videos where I see a lot of the time where officers are pulling the taser when it may not be the best use of force multiplier. It may not be the best tool in their toolbox, but they know it to be an intermediate weapon and they pull it because, I don't know. I don't know if it's just, they just feel that this is the best way to go forward with business. It's hard to say. I'm not in this officer's head, but it's very clear in my opinion that using a taser in this situation, outside of trying to de-escalate, and once that de-escalation did not happen, I don't feel like it was going to be a benefit from that point moving forward. But again, that's my opinion. That is my opinion based upon the facts. So this is what the facts are fleshing out for us. What I'm curious to know is what you think. Please tell me what you think in the comment section below. Please tell me what you guys are seeing with this. What do you think the case law tells you? How would you handle this situation? I'm curious to know in the comment section below. Hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you guys like it, please like, share, subscribe. As always, guys, long live the Republic.